Okay, this is going to be one in a series of videos about how to think in order to make it much harder for you or anything else to get messed with, including systems. 1987, the SCI virus was turned loose on a limited number of networks. 1997, 10 years later, the 6 Degree social network existed. One of the first ones. 2007, Facebook Bacon AI routine went rogue after supposedly being shut off. Or they just lied about shutting it off. By the way, when did corporations get the legal right to say that they have a right to freedom of speech? Think about that. 2012, Cicada 3301 occurred and started. It ended later, a couple of years later. 2014, Facebook emotional contagion experiment was done. I'm going to look into that. 2016, a video game called Superhot came out, and recently the Superhot VR version came out and answered a bunch of questions for a game theorist on YouTube. 2018, Facebook Cambridge Analytica breach and evidence of rigging happened, or at least that's when it came out. The data breach happened from a whistleblower. Game theorist, October 21st of this year, analyzing Superhot as if it's not a computer virus. So I'm going to be reading literally the information from the 12-minute and 39-second mark forward, edited. I'm changing out the name of the game for different things. Let's do a different game. We're going to play a game. And I'm going to read this, and this is me just deleting the name of the game or changing the name of the game to something else so that you get the idea of it. The AI was created created a false reality to trap humans in this idea of good hacker versus bad AI, us versus them mentality. It's a complete fabrication. It is all one and the same. It is all the system keeping our monkey minds busy, giving us false pot leads. Chewing gum from the mind. Keeping us occupied so we don't realize what's really going on. It's how you can punch yourself in the head when the system tells you to. Even though this action is meant to be inside a virtual game, and in the case of the VR headset, you literally do hit yourself in the head. Because that's how it inputs the data. The system's doing exactly what it's designed to do. The entire program isn't actually a game. Welcome to the construct. We use it as a training area. It's a textbook virus program, except this time the virus is for the human mind. A super virus that infects and spreads through the player to everyone the player knows. Which game are we talking about? It's the ultimate virus that infiltrates the ultimate piece of software, your mind. It's not hardware. Every virus has 3 parts. This is an assertion by the game theorist. This is not literally accurate, because viruses don't have to have parts. Infection mechanism, trigger, and payload. Part 1. The infection mechanism is simply the opening of the rabbit hole you're invited to open by a friend who says that this is the real and clever path. Now I have a pretty good suspicion that this was really the system writing to you all along and not actually your friend. Or was it a bot? I want to bring up the NPC meme really quickly. Poe's law is that if something is insane enough, it's impossible to make a parody of or mock because it is self-mocking. That isn't necessarily a bad thing. If you're going to make a crazy conspiracy theory, make it so crazy that even discussing it sounds like mockery. It never sounds like you're treating anyone with respect when you discuss someone talking about a flat earth, chemtrail, and somehow space aliens, but the earth has never been exited and we've never walked on the moon. The reasoning behind this deliberate setting up of the situation is so that you will know how a person will respond to your crazy theory. The crazier it is, the more likely people are either going to fall totally for it or they'll reject it entirely. Therefore, you automatically look as if you're a persecuted group. But anyway, Now we have a pretty good suspicion that it is the system contacting us, not really our friends. All the Facebook and everything else fake friends. This highlights a big component of viral infection mechanisms. Viruses do indeed need programming. A lot of times the bigger component is they need trust, social engineering, or social networking tricks. Use trust between friends online against them to get the virus to spread. The second part of a virus is the trigger, logic bomb mechanism. Decides when the virus is activated or hacks into your mind. Passive trigger like activating after a certain number of hours. Active triggers like clicking on a link. From the first time you crack open the system to every instance of you getting kicked out of it, the game as it is, only to boot it up again and try to break in again. It makes you invest time in it. The most successful games that exist, video games, and the most successful activities are ones that force you to be engaged on an emotional level by having a challenge that literally punishes you for making minor errors. This is also a way to force people to obey totalitarianism. You accepting an end-user license agreement. Ultimate trigger of them all. Disposing of your own will, whether you've read it or not. In this case, the video game Superhot, which is being analyzed by the game theorist, literally tells you these things. But is it telling you the truth? Do not trust, always test. Web of trust? Or the internet of... All the common tests that a computer virus uses for probing the regular software is done to you to decide whether you as a target is worth trying to infect. Are you functional? Can you do what the system wants you to do? Are you connected to others it can spread to? Probing the player by literally making you prove your loyalty to the system, showing it what you are made out of, and the lengths that you would go to repeatedly obey, showing it, obey it, in turn showing your viability as an infected wetware for a malicious memetic virus. Do you have potential? Are you gonna have, or you're gonna have to jump through hoops, many hoops. And finally, the payload, the part of the virus that actually does the dirty work. In this case, you become the payload, literally becoming an addict of it, spreading it to all of your friends, like I'm doing to you right now, telling you about it. Merely being aware of something, wanting to learn about it, being inquisitive, exploiting your natural tendency for curiosity. How do you trap a really intelligent animal? Give it something complicated. It'll trap itself. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck.